Today we got our next flipped video. This time we're going to be talking about imaginary numbers. Something we haven't really seen before. So we're just going to kind of get the introductory material in so we can jump into the solving things with imaginary numbers tomorrow. So imaginary numbers, we're going to talk about what one is and the kind of the categories it can fall into, and then a little bit about adding and subtracting, and we'll get into multiplying, dividing, simplifying, that stuff in class tomorrow. So first of all, imaginary number. What is it? There's one thing through all of math so far that you haven't been able to deal with. And that thing is taking the square root of a negative number. Okay, so mathematicians said we need to be able to deal with that. We need to be able to say there's some answer when there's a square root of a regular negative number involved. So what they did was they defined I squared as -1. Okay, so they made, again, I squared equal to -1. So in this way, when you take the square root of both sides, it makes it that I is the square root of -1. And that's our imaginary number. Again, the square root of -1, that can't happen. So we give it the letter I. I is the square root of -1. All based on this, on the fact that I squared is equal to -1. And we have two categories we're talking about imaginary numbers. Our first one is pure imaginary numbers. Okay, in this category, it is only imaginary numbers. I'm talking about I, 2I, 3I root 2. Whatever it may be, these are imaginary numbers. There's no addition or subtraction of something else. Now, in complex numbers, this addition or subtraction of some other term takes place. Complex numbers are in the form a plus bi. Well, in this case, a is a real number. So we're talking about like 2 plus 3i, 5 minus I root 2. Okay, things like this. These are complex numbers. Again, a real number in association with a pure imaginary number. So there's a couple things from this page about imaginary numbers. First of all, it's all from the fact that I squared equals -1. That was the definition that mathematicians gave so that we could handle taking the square root of a negative number. So I is represented by the square root of -1. And anytime you see the square root of -1, we can now take it out and replace it with an I. Real quick, to end this video, we're going to talk about the adding and subtracting of complex numbers. This is real simple. It's the same way we deal with numbers and variables. Okay, we're just going to add like terms. So if we have 2 plus 3i plus 6 minus 2i. Again, we're just going to add our like terms. We're going to add our 2 and our 6 to get 8. We're going to add our 3i and our -2i to get 1i. Very simple. Okay, just the same way we deal with x's and y's and numbers. Okay, combining like terms. So just some introduction into imaginary numbers. We have two sections of those. First of all, our pure imaginaries, which are just the imaginary numbers. And then we have our complex numbers, which are imaginary numbers added or subtracted with real numbers. Make sure you guys do your whisk, and I'll see you tomorrow.